Hey, what is up, everyone? It is your boy, your friend Damien Howard here with another Village Talks segment. And when I tell you we are in for an amazing treat today, I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. Y'all, my brother Cliff, who y'all are about to see come onto this space and onto this virtual stage in a moment, is somebody who I felt deeply impacted by when I first met him. Some of his thinking and even getting to the point of authoring a book and authoring, writings that are really dealing with, how do we as a community make sure that we're constantly making decisions and positioning ourselves, hear this, to be economically empowered. Do you hear me? The whole fact of the matter is that people could be in a space where as we embrace this victim mentality or victim mindset, or we can get to a point to say, hey, even if the chips are stacked up against me, even if there have been generational curses that I have embraced in my life, I have a ability to resolve, hear this, today, to say, I'm going to start implementing some things in my life to start turning this thing around. And Cliff is the type of person that I've learned in my own personal life that gives us those kind of practical tools and knowledge and create space, right? To help us to do that. Why am I emphasizing create space? Because even when I first met him and I asked him, I'm like, bro, is your platform financial education? And he like, nah, Dame, like, bro, like, even though, yeah, it's about education, but we're not going to come to the table and assume that people are not educated, right? My whole thing is how do I create agency and give voice so that people can actually apply, right? Those pieces that in many instances we already know that's right. So, with that, y'all, my friend Cliff is about to hit the stage and give his own bio. So, Cliff, come on in.
Coming in hot, coming in hot. Hey, hey, what's up, Dame? How are you, sir? Good to see you again. Glad that we were able to get this on the schedule so we can chop it up again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I give a little bit about me. I'm Cliff Goins the fourth, native South Sider. Grew up in South Shore. Attended the one and only Whitney M. Young Magnet School on I guess what was the West Side, but now it's the West Loop. So anyway, attended Whitney Young. And yeah, my background is mostly kind of in finance, operations, and strategy across a lot of different types of entities. So think small businesses, think large corporations like Northern Trust and Amazon. And then I did a lot of work kind of on the investment side of things, where a lot of my kind of love and maybe borderline psychotic nature around personal finance comes from. And so I worked both in private equity and also in doing investment in public stocks. And so my background is a little bit of a hodgepodge, but the through line is how do we kind of connect finance, operations, and strategy across a lot of businesses. Today, I lead a company called Ashe Beach Companies, where we are building out a portfolio of private companies. I'm what they call an independent sponsor, and I partner with other independent sponsors looking at private companies to buy. And so, closed on the first one about 100 days ago. So, spending a lot of time trying to get that where we need it to be. But yeah, big component, big proponent of entrepreneurship as a way of creating wealth, and then just really being a great steward over your personal finances. And so yeah, that's the quick bio.
Man, Cliff.
Oh, you know what I left off? I'm happily married with two wonderful daughters, one of which is at Howard University, and another one who is a senior in high school who's getting ready to pick a school. So we're working through that process right now, getting through all the applications and college visits and those different things. So that's the story.
It's something about these podcast segments that amazes me every single time. Because, Cliff, in all of the hours that we spent together, you giving that bio and me helping you to see how you're out, even with this kind of acquisition piece, kind of gave me some new pieces that just, oh man, I'm so fascinated. We're gonna take that offline. But anytime you allow me, I'm not gonna be a fly on the wall. I'm not even gonna say that. Like, I don't know what it is. Somebody who mutes myself and just sits there and listens when y'all are doing some of that work of we just took over this company and we're figuring it out. I would love, bro, to just be able to see that in action.
Hey, let's talk about it offline then. Let's talk about it offline.
Cool. So, Cliff, again, I alluded to this. Let me pause. Bro, you wrote a book not too long ago. Talk to us about that.
Oh man, I don't believe I left that out the bio. I'm the worst marketing person and I'm a finance guy, worst marketing person in the world. So and I don't even think yep, I don't even have any next to me. I'm just bad. I might have a bookmark next to me, but that's about it. Yep, that's all I got. See? Just a bad marketer. But anyway, I wrote a book. It's called Minding the Wealth Gap. It's all about how we close the wealth gap between black families and white families. There are multiple mechanisms to do that. We mentioned one of them, entrepreneurship. There's real estate. And then obviously there are things we can do for those who are politically inclined from a policy perspective. And so, yeah, the book we kind of did a day in the life with about nine black executives and entrepreneurs and kind of use their stories of what they're doing to close the wealth gap to talk about how we, as not just Black Americans, but all Americans, can do our part to help close this wealth gap. It's about $15 trillion and growing. And if we leave it be, at a minimum, it'll be another 400 years before we even get to sniffing to close the gap. And so I look at it as a really big American problem that, again, we all can kind of step in and do our parts to try to help close.
When I think of this concept of village, particularly, right, and selfishly having top of mind some of the partnerships that I have here locally, the people that are coming to mind right now are those executive directors of smaller nonprofits, talking less than 10 employees, probably even less than five, that in a real way are on the struggle bus right now. And I wonder if in your writings, in your meeting with different folks, even though it seems like it came from a very unique lens, is there any contribution that you can make to this space to help us think of how do we, as folks in the nonprofit space, work towards closing that wealth gap, work towards, refining our story and our narrative to really help folks who have the means understand that, hey, we're worthy of investment over here. I wonder if you have any thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a good topic. One of the nonprofits that I talk about in the book is called True Star Media. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're in the Chicago area. Did a lot of work with them early on, and they've kind of I can't take any credit for what they're doing now. They're just kind of really taking off. Um, in terms of like, executive directors that have kind of smaller nonprofits, I mean, at the end of the day, when you talk about nonprofits, I may start getting controversial, but that's okay. When you talk about nonprofits, essentially what you are saying is that we have decided that our business model will be a nonprofit business model. Okay. I don't think most nonprofits think this way. And so that's why it gets a little controversial. But essentially, all you've done is made a decision that my business model, my legal business model, is a quote unquote nonprofit business model. Okay. What comes with that, though, is when you set up as a 501(c)(3), you also are saying my business model, for the most part, unless I figure something out, is based on donations. However that however that comes, however you go get it. Okay. So fundamentally, by making that decision, you have made the decision that that is your business model. Okay. So some of it is, I think, we have to understand that going in. All right. The second thing I would say is while you are a quote unquote a nonprofit, are a nonprofit corporation. That's actually what you are, nonprofit corporation. And so you still have to think about your business as a business. And so that's the second thing. I've worked with a lot of smaller nonprofits, and they don't necessarily think that way. So you first have to kind of set up that way. Um, the third piece, though, is really what you're talking about. Essentially, you have a fundraising model. So a fundraising model means that you have to have some kind of investment, whether it's you or somebody part-time or whatever, in a some kind of fundraising machine that goes out to raise funds. All right. So that's a third thing. And since we're doing this on the fly, it's probably not in the order I probably would put it if I was writing this. But the fourth thing that I think about is now you have to really think strategically about what people mostly and maybe organizations that will be aligned with your mission and have an inclination to want to support that mission. It will be very, 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 very hard, which you've probably experienced, of trying to just convince, scattershot, convince everybody that what I'm doing is great and you need to invest. You really have to be strategic and think about what types of people or organizations might be interested in essentially making a bet here or placing their essentially charitable funds here. And then, ultimately, that's about some of that is about networking and getting plugged into the right networks of people with means. So I did that on the fly. Probably, like I said, when I get this transcript, I might actually I might write a little article. I felt some of those points, man. I think I might turn that into the article.
You know, if I'm not even gonna say if, when I stick with this and get greater podcast excellence with the way that I'm running these, man, I wish I had some sound effects or something that I could have offered as you were talking.
Oh, the boo, boo, boo. Right,
Because
right.
no, that was so amazing. And it reminded me of my friend Vince Edwards, who I did had a conversation with a couple of episodes ago. And one of the key things that I feel both of you all are calling out is we who are engaged in the nonprofit space have to think of that work as we would think about any type of corporate or business endeavor, right? So there's a level of excellence intuitively and psychologically that we need to resolve to have, for folks who are embarking upon that endeavor. Again, you're going to go back with those points and do more publishing. Make sure that you ping us in that so we can get that back out to the community as well.
That's right. That's
Hey,
right.
hey, Cliff, man, I got another thought really off script that comes to mind. And since we're rocking that way, I'll just kind of follow suit, at least for right now. Check this out. What I get from you is an impression that you wear multiple hats. And in a day and age, whereas we are leaders, are constantly being challenged to hone in on our messaging, make things more clear, don't present your way, don't present yourself in a way that can get people lost in your messaging. Bro, you letting them know about the work that you're doing as an author, as a person who is looking at businesses and saying, how can I come alongside, potentially acquire you as a person who obviously we're understanding today is somebody who really wants to serve the village in a way whereby all of those different experiences that you have, you're willing to like speak from your heart and educate folks or re-educate folks on some things that are important to you. So what that sounds like to me, and I don't get distracted by this, I don't get sidetracked by this. I'm like, yeah, I resonate with it actually. Is that like there's multiple things that you have going on and what I'll call right now for the sake of conversation, multiple hats. So anyway, my question in all of that is this. In order that you are not confusing those partners using your language that you want to take a bet on you, right? That they don't get lost in, oh, is this Chris the author, or is the Cliff, excuse me, Cliff the author, or is this Cliff, the educational guru? I don't know. I just wonder, like, how do you approach that? How do you even organize that in your own mind and life? when you are presenting yourself? Hopefully, implicit in that, you caught what I'm trying to ask you here.
I did. I did. I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna do a commercial at the end, which I couldn't even do a commercial for my own book, but I'll do a commercial for another book when it's sitting behind me. So I'll show it. Um, I think we're talking about two different things and also the same thing, meaning um, there are people who believe that you really should just you should specialize in something, and that should be your message. Um, I've gotten trouble quotation mark, gotten in trouble with some of my mentors over the years because I do like to do a lot of different things. And they're like, "Oh, well, you can't do all of this stuff. You gotta pick something." And I have always rejected that. Um, I do think though, when you are trying to um, go after resources, could be a customer, could be an investor, in your case, could be a donor. You do have to be very specific about what the ask is. Um, you do have to be very specific about how you add value. And so what that might mean is that you're leaving certain parts of the story off the table when you are doing those pitches or having those conversations. But I just wholly reject the fact the notion that you have to specialize in one thing and just do that one thing. But I also know I'm a little bit of an anomaly. That being said, commercial. One of the best books I've read is this book called Range. You see that subtitle?
Yep.
Why
Wow.
Generalists
Yeah.
Triumph
Generally.
in a Specialized World.
Hmm.
And I mean, it's deeply researched. That is actually, you actually can add a lot more value having more tools in your tool shed. Now, again, it doesn't mean that you're implementing every single tool every single time you're out, but it gives you a better perspective on things. So you notice even when I started my bio, I always talk about the intersection between finance, operations, and strategy. The reality is those are three different disciplines. There are people who just specialize in strategists and they are killer strategy. I mean, I'm sorry, specialize in strategy, they're killer strategists, right? There are obviously people who just specialize in finance and they just go super deep, right? And the same thing for ops. Well, in every organization, those dots have to be connected. So I'm a dot connector, and I am okay with that. Um, the thing that the discipline that I probably could go the deepest in is finance. But that being said, I actually like to see how it all comes together, because I think that's where you can really create value.
It's interesting that you say that because I was just on a call yesterday with a guy who is developing a nonprofit. And really, what he wants to look at is starting a new post-secondary concept that focuses more on a generalist education experience versus more of a specialized experience that a lot of us are used to. So, just really fascinating being a part of that conversation today and you bringing range top of mind for us, Cliff, as a resource that we should strongly consider. Um, Wow, Cliff. Hey, I could have never imagined the direction that this conversation took today. But it really did go in a way, whereas I know that the tidbits that have been shared here thus far have been super duper helpful for folks. Going back to this whole kind of village concept, just so we can hit on that, I wonder and all of your different experiential kind of realities and like with what it is that you're focused on right now, like how does that concept of village resonate with you? Why might you find it important? What are some of the challenges with ways that you hear people talking about the village being mobilized or rising up to be supportive in any way, shape, or form? I just want to know, like, when we call out this concept of village, and as you think of village within the context of what you and I kind of debriefed on before this, just what comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is there's nothing. of significance that gets done without having some village around you, whether that's on the personal side of things, or on the business side of things. So one of the things I mentioned earlier is I am again what they call a quote unquote independent sponsor, but the reality is I am actually partnering with other like-minded folks to look at deals and potentially invest in them. I've mentioned a couple of times mentors, right? I have one gentleman who's just been a godsend that, again, is a private equity professional who has really come alongside me to just help me as I'm navigating different deals and different obstacles and different things of that nature. So it's very hard to be successful without Village. If we bring it back to just the Black community at large. I mean, we know this. This is built in our DNA. We've had villages forever, and even more so in our great state of America, where we've had to United States of America, I should say, where we've had to navigate some pretty difficult circumstances over the years. Some circumstances which people, I guess, think we're past, but as you and I know, we still got a lot of work to do. Part of the reason I wrote the book. And so. There's nothing of significance that gets done outside of village. That's just the reality. I mean, we were meant to live in community, and that extends personal, professional, and otherwise.
So that being said, how do you see yourself through your different workflows showing up in support of your village? Again, I don't want to qualify that any more than what I already have. I just think that hearing some stories and being able to learn more about how you, again, are showing up in service to your community would be helpful. So take it away from here.
Yeah, yeah. So, we're big proponents of several nonprofits. A couple of them in the Chicago area. One's called By the Hand Club for kids, and then the other one's called True Star, which I talked about earlier. They both are programs that are meant to accelerate our youth, so that coming out of, in one case, kind of mostly elementary school, into high school a little bit, and then coming out of high school into college, that they are equipped with skills and education, like practical skills and education that gives them the kind of start they need to be productive citizens. But the biggest nonprofit that I'm involved with today is Florida A&M University Foundation, where we are continuing to raise and manage money for scholarships for folks to attend FAMU. And so we are up to probably about 170, $180 million in endowment. Did a lot of work with our investment team to get us set up to manage that money well. And right now, I'm working on a big project where we're trying to revamp how we do budgeting so that we can go after bigger and larger dollars and have a better feel for kind of where we're spending that money in. So that's one where I'm taking, my kind of professional background and skills and applying it in a way that will benefit FAMU, which is an HBCU. So those are a few examples.
Yeah, so when you think about finances, economics, I just want to get out of the way and hear you. It might be something aligned with what you said or keen to what you said earlier when you gave us the 4 points. Just give us like top of mind best practices or thoughts that you have for us as the village today, as far as in that domain of like I said, economics in general or just financial empowerment? What thoughts do you have top of mind?
Yeah, top of mind, I always go to personal finance. There are a couple of things, and usually this is why I said, education. I don't know that it's necessarily education. It's more about thinking about our role as stewards and what we can do. So, the number one thing I always tell people, like, here it is. No matter how much money you make, you have to set up a situation where you're spending less money than you make. That may be painful at some point. It usually is. But you have to set up a situation where you're spending less money than you make. Why? because the difference between kind of what you make and what you spend, you really should be stacking. And whatever that means to you, might mean just sitting it under the mattress, which I wouldn't recommend, but I understand, that's just the case for some of us. It might mean sticking it in the bank. Still, maybe not would recommend, but if you can do that, do that. But you need to be stacking, and hopefully investing. Um, what that will do is buy you flexibility in the future. And once you have flexibility in the future, you can make a whole lot of different decisions. And so always start with those fundamentals. And so when I do personal finance seminars, we're always pretty cheeky about it. Like how many people didn't know that coming into the room? And it's like nobody raises their hand because you kind of know that. But until you start practicing and doing it, it's a different thing. I will say like for me, coming out of college, I actually didn't make that much money. And there was probably about a 3, 4 year period where I got to the end of the period and I'm like, oh man, I've been working for 4 years and I don't have any money. And that was one of the catalysts for me to start saying, no matter what I'm making, I have to be stacking. And that's how we really built kind of our situation. Like most of it, it wasn't no, we didn't get a inheritance or anything. We just were stacking every time we got paid. And so that's the building block to me.
I love that. I love that. There are before you give whatever final commercial, and hopefully you feel I just want you to be super empowered, bro. Like whatever that like final word is, to just be thinking about that piece right now, drop it on us in a moment. I'm so ready for it. I'm going to ask just kind of two questions, and then I'll come back in and set up just this final word from you. But the two questions are this. So, firstly, again, thinking of your expertise and this concept of village, I am giving you this magic wand right now, and you have the ability to poof, change anything that you want. What would you change? What would you, not only what, but then why? Like, what impact are you thinking about would come out of you doing this thing right here with the magic wand and making this change. But then, secondly, just so that I don't forget, I want to ask it right now. I really want you to help us, Cliff, and maybe start here. Let us know if we want to reach out to you, if we want to keep learning alongside you, if folks want to get in contact with you. What does that look like?
Yeah, sure. So the best way to connect with me is either on LinkedIn. I'm there as Cliff Goins the fourth, or on IG where my handle is I am Cliff Goins the fourth. And so you can connect with me either way. And yeah, I'll be happy to do that. In terms of magic wands, yeah, I wish I did have a magic wand. I'm just super biased because I've spent a lot of time in kind of the private equity space. And quite frankly, when you look at the larger providers, or even if you look at some of the smaller, what they call lower middle market investors, when you go to the websites and you go to the people page, you don't see many people that look like us. Like it might be 1%. And so if I had a magic wand, I would definitely have more of us playing in the space, whether it's as investors, whether it's as analysts, whether it's as people owning parts of businesses, whether it's as people working in these businesses. Even if you go to these businesses, you don't see a lot of us. I visited actually one this morning and I saw it was like, let's say I saw 50 people. I saw one black guy. Right. And this is a, family-owned company, huge company, privately held. Um, sure the owners are doing well. It sounds like they take care of their employees. It was one black guy. And so my magic wand would be to have us much more involved in some of these privately owned businesses where a lot of wealth is being created in the States and even beyond.
Yeah, so it's your commercial time. Hopefully, earlier I gave you enough space to just be thinking through what nuggets you might want to drop on us, what parting words you have for the village here.
All right. The first is since I am a horrible marketer, I'm gonna try to be a marketer. Hey, please get out. and buy Minding the Wealth Gap. Is available on Amazon. Show up probably the next day if you get it. The audio book is also available if you know, like a lot of us, you don't read anymore. I read a lot, as you can see. I have books behind me. I like the pages. Hey, if you do audio books, you can get Minding the Wealth Gap right now as well. So that's my commercial. Um, in terms of like parting words, at the end of the day, um, there are different types of wealth, right? The best wealth is you understanding who you are and what God has kind of put you on the planet to do, and what you should be doing right now to keep pushing towards whatever those goals or those things that are burning in your heart, right? But I think related to that is that should create platforms and opportunities for you to create material wealth. And in order to do that, though, you have to, continue to hone your skills, continue to build your networks, continue to engage in sometimes hard work and maybe work you don't want to do. And then, yeah, we gotta go back to what I was saying earlier. You should always be stacking because you want to always have that flexibility and those options on the back end. You should live like you're going to live next year and you're going to live the year after that. And so you definitely don't want less flexibility in the future. And so some of that is just a mindset set shift. And obviously it has to be a big habit shift for some of us. Um, and the sooner you can do it, the better off you'll be.
Cliff, I know that this has been amazing for the village, as it has been amazing and informative for me. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I am already extremely clear that you're going to be getting another invite sooner versus later because this is a conversation that we need to keep happening. These are nuggets and tools that you're equipping us with. To your point, that might not necessarily be new knowledge, but absolutely are reminders that we all need to be taking to heart. And I'm going to say why we need these reminders, and you alluded to it. I think of future Damien. I think of, we can even put an age on it, 60, 65-year-old Damien. And is he going to look back at the current Damien and or Damien, 20 years ago and say, thank you for the way that you set me up to have the flexibility that I have now? Or is he going to curse me out? You little
Right.
silly little, you know what I'm saying? Because you knew better, but did you do better?
Yes.
Is just what he's going to be asking of me. So anyway, y'all, this has been another fantastic, amazing Village Talk segment. We hope that you were able to watch it through this point. Because if so, we don't even have to assume it. We know you got something of value by being here today. Again, we are so grateful for Cliff for joining us. And if you want to be on a future segment or engage with us anyway, wherever you're seeing this, comment below. Let us know how this was helpful. Let us know whatever thoughts you have. And we're going to keep this thing moving, keep the village growing. All right. Blessings, everybody. Peace out.
Bye. Thanks for having me.